Good morning. My name is Julie Matthews, and this Mindful Monday is coming to you from Vancouver Island in Canada. I thought I would talk to you a little bit about a practice that I learned when I was doing my yoga training, and it's about mindful eating. I want you to think about being present during mealtime. And this really aligns well with what Ilana teaches in To Be Mindset. But I have 10 tips that I'd like to share with you, and hopefully they help you with your nutritional journey. So I had to do this for 21 days, and it was a bit of a challenge, but I had support. My family supported me, and my friends. We practiced this together sometimes, which was quite fun. Number one, I want you to make sure that you have everything that you need for your meal before you sit down. And once you sit down, I want you to resist the urge to get up. So you have to make sure that you have all your tools, all the items that you want, the condiments, napkins, whatever you need to focus on your meal without popping up and down. Sometimes we get into our family meal and we're like, oh, we've forgotten this, or we're getting this for someone else. So I want you to be in the moment and stay there. Before you take your first bite, I want you to take a few breaths to be present. I want you to look at the food in front of you, and I want you to reflect on its origins. Who created it? Who grew it? Who brought it to the place where you purchased it? Or maybe you grew it, and reflect on that. Think about all the energy that went into that food and be grateful for it. So just expressing gratitude for having that meal in front of you. Number 3 is putting your utensils down after each bite. Resist the urge to refill your spoon or fork and take another bite before your first bite is finished. This may seem like, well, do I have to mention this? But yeah, how many times do you catch yourself putting food on the spoon or fork before you're even halfway through with what you have in your mouth, and before you're finished it, your utensils halfway up to your mouth, ready to load into your mouth. So I want you to be mindful of that. And just that practice of putting the utensil down, putting your hands maybe in your lap or on the table somewhere, and chew. And that leads me to the next point, number 4, is chew completely. And that means for each load that you put in your mouth, don't overload it, is at least 20-25 times you're chewing to break it down in your mouth. Digestion starts before you even sit down for your meal. The smells in the room, the idea of the meal, and then that next step is the actual chewing and the breaking down with the saliva in your mouth. So maybe for a piece of melon or watermelon, it may not take 20-25 times, but for most things, you're going to have to really chew it, okay? Number 5, talk only when your mouth is empty. So it's not a problem if you're eating by yourself, but if you are, eating with others, with friends, colleagues, you're trying to have a meeting, make sure you're chewing completely, empty your mouth, say what you need to say, and then you can continue with your meal with the next bite. You will be surprised how well you become at listening. Your listening skills will improve, and I think your relationships will improve as well. The next thing that I find is a more challenging nowadays is shutting off the distractions. Can you sit quietly with your meal without looking at your phone, without watching a television show or Netflix, listening to something on a podcast or a radio, reading an article in a newspaper, magazine, or what have you, or a book? Can you take it all away and just focus on what you're doing with your meal? So eliminate the distractions. Be ready to sit and enjoy the meal. So that's a challenging one. And if you just pick one, maybe that's the one out of all 10. Number 7 is spend 20 to 30 minutes on your meal. So don't rush it. Digestion takes about 20 minutes, but sometimes we're We're putting in more food than we need to within like 5-10 minutes. I've seen it in my own family. They're like speed eaters. I want you to take 20 to 30 minutes for your meal. Allow your body to really feel full and chew deliberately and completely. Number 8. This doesn't happen at the meal, but I want you to think about drinking your water 20 minutes prior to your meal or 20 minutes after your meal. So there's no water or beverages during your meal. I want you to maximize your nutrition that you're getting from your meal instead of watering it down and interrupting with that digestion. Number 9 is, this is a really good one for portion controlling. So when you've served your food, you have your serving size, especially if you're using the containers, you know what servings are good for you, for your macros. Once you've eaten that, if you're still hungry and you've eaten what you're providing on your plate, then you ask yourself, do I need more? So it's kind of like Ilana's eat more, sure, but you start at the top of that circle, you know, getting those nutritional things, maybe taking something small that's healthy. So try to keep in mind your goals and align it with your macro intake. So finish your portion that's right for you first. And then by the time you're done the chewing and the 20-30 minutes, you're probably going to feel full and you probably won't need it. Okay? So it'll be helpful to reduce what you eat. Number 10, enjoy each bite and notice how it makes you feel. So often we're piling food in, but we're not really tasting it. We're not enjoying it. We're not thinking about it. We're just putting it in our mouth mindlessly. So this whole thing is about mindful eating, and these 10 tips can help you get there. So these meals can be done at home, at work, or in a restaurant. So my colleagues in my yoga training and I, we used to go to the restaurant to challenge ourselves. And the 4 of us would sit there and do a yoga meal. And it was so calming. And we really got to listen to each other's stories and thoughts and opinions and just feelings. And it was so beneficial. And we realized some of the things and the habits that we had developed by doing it, by trying to reverse it. My husband the other day, he was making a Japanese curry, and he's like, oh, we're going to have to be having a mindful meal because it was so hot to eat. You couldn't really shovel it in, and my family, my boys are really good at eating fast. So they remember these things that I've done, and they bring them up. And one of the days I said, oh, is there something wrong with the food? Because my son was eating slowly. He's like, no, I'm having a yoga meal. I thought that was cute. So they're taking it in even when you're doing things. So it's a good opportunity to teach your family by role modeling. So I want you to comment below if you try any of these Mindful Monday tips for being present with your meal, and tell me how it makes you feel. Which one did you try? It's a tall order to do them all, but it's very worthwhile. And if you do, let me know, or just pick one and see if you can try it for a day or two, or maybe the whole week. Good luck. Happy Monday. You're in week 2. Check in on our posts, comment. You'll get the most out of this group if you do. Search for your Tuesday recipe and grab some other ideas. Wednesday, hopefully you can grab some more nutritional tips, and hopefully you're gonna participate in our Flex Friday, our bonus workout, as well as keep logging your workouts, your shakes, and have a wonderful week. Cheers. I'm gonna have my yoga meal.